Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of today's guests, including Craig Button, standing by, brought to you by the Bayside Oceanfront Resort, located oceanside in beautiful Parksville. The Bayside is one of Vancouver Island's premier getaway spots. Exciting additions to the Bayside include their newly opened Bay Cafe, sourcing delicious local products and seasonal cocktail list in the Bayside restaurant. Book your island getaway today at BaysideOceanFrontResort.com or call 250-248-8333. And don't forget to mention Donnie and Dolly for 10% off your nightly room rate. Vegas at the Canucks tonight at Rogers Arena. We bring in now, as we always do on a Tuesday, usually on a Tuesday, TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I am really great, and always a pleasure to join you, mostly on Tuesdays. But when Ryan asks me to switch around, he accommodates me, I accommodate him.
You're always agreeable. That's why we have you on, among other reasons. Hey, Craig, the Kings beat the Flames last night 8-2. Watching the Kings on the weekend, they lose to the Canucks but outplayed them. I'm just wondering, because I watch them and I'm not bowled over by the Kings, but you look at the standings and what they do statistically, they're right there. What is it that the LA Kings do well?
Well, you know, when you talk about it too, so you watch them play, and they seem to have a real consistent, methodical approach to their game, right? So they don't catch you. I mean, if you look at their team, I mean, they don't have a superstar. They don't have somebody that's capable of really being able to, push the game like a McDavid or like an Elias Pettersson. But they go about their business in a real straightforward, disciplined manner. And I think that's what makes them so dangerous, is that you look at their lineup, there's no real weaknesses in it. They can attack you from different parts of their lineup from the forward group. Defensively, they're strong. Rob Blake recognized that their goaltending was way below average. Mm-hmm. He went and upgraded that, and then he did the double upgrade by adding Gavrikov, which only helped an already good defensive team. And I would finish it by asking you this, Don. Mm-hmm. Did the Los Angeles Kings of 2012 or 2014 overwhelm you when you watched them, or wowed you?
No. You watch other
Cups in those 2 years.
Yeah. With Daryl Sutter, whose team they beat by 6 goals last night. Hey, the Golden Knights are in town. We just finished talking about the Kings. Do you have any idea who's going to come out of the Western Conference? There's 4 points separating the top 6 teams.
I really don't. I mean, we've talked about the path in the West being so wide open. It really is. I mean, we can look at Colorado, and, Landeskog is skating again. They're getting players back in their lineup. And, I think that you might just default to a healthy Colorado Avalanche as the front runner. But if they're the front runner, it's not by very much. And, there's a lot of things that have to find their way to the right side of things, including everybody being healthy enough to contribute. So when I look at it, Minnesota's playing well, and Edmonton's playing well, and we talk about LA and we talk about Vegas. There's a lot of teams that are playing really, really well. The way I look at it right now is that let's start 2 weeks out from the end of the regular season, and let's really start to evaluate out of those teams who's got their game in order, who's got their game the most in order. And as I come back to the LA Kings, you look back to 2012, you look back to 2014, they had their game in order. They weren't high in the standings, but they had their game in order. It took them all the way to the Stanley Cup in each of those years.
Craig, Canucks are 8-2 in their past 10, and not everyone's happy about that. Want to see some losses for Bedard. But one thing that is surprising, Craig, Demko's going to start for the 8th time in the past 10 games tonight. Quinn Hughes is playing 26-plus every game. Are you surprised that Rick Tocchet is playing the heck out of these guys?
No, I'm not. I mean, one of the things that Rick, really, in my view, wants to evaluate is how these players, primetime players, frontline players handle different challenges. Because if you're going to be a good team and you want to compete for the playoffs, you're going to have your key players, take on the most challenging minutes, the most challenging situations. So, Thatcher was out for a stretch of the year. He looks brilliant in the net. I think that Quinn Hughes is having one of the best years of a defenseman anywhere in the National Hockey League, and it doesn't get talked about. I mean, you think about what he's doing,
Yep.
On that blue line. I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, I'll be straightforward with you guys right now. I get a vote for the Norris. I get a vote for the All-Star teams. He's in my top 5 for the Norris. He's in my top 5 for the Norris. That's how good he is. And there's a lot of good defensemen in the league, and there's going to be a lot of good defensemen that won't finish in the top 5. But I see Quinn as that. So I think it's an opportunity for Rick to really evaluate these players, put them in situations, and I think good players love those challenges. So I think it's just part and parcel of the ongoing evaluation by Rick, and the players getting an opportunity to show what they can do.
Craig, Elias Pettersson's been on fire. He got his career high 33rd goal. He's, what is he now, 12 away from 100 points. Everything's coming together. He's playing defensively well. People are talking maybe some Selke votes. Your thoughts on his incredible year?
Yeah, when he came into the league, I mean, we saw how gifted Pettersson was. I mean, he was absolutely gifted. And then the league adjusts to you, right? They start to go, okay, we're going to lean in on you a little bit more. We're not going to give you the space. And I thought last season, he didn't, I don't know, struggle is the right word. He was trying to find that level of performance and production that we saw. And, part of adjustment is, okay, what are they doing to me? What do I need to do? I also think there was a part of physical maturity that came into it as well. A little bit stronger, a little bit harder to knock a rye. So when I watch Pettersson play now, the way he attacks now, he doesn't look to avoid inside hockey. And not that he was avoiding it, but when it's closed off, you got to find different ways to get there. And now he's doing that. He's driving the net. He's quicker. He's not able to get pushed off the puck easily. And I think that what you see is the magnificent skills that he possesses, and now the confidence to carry it out. He understands what teams are doing to him, and he says, good luck trying to stop me, because his skill level is so high. And the interesting thing for me is I saw the same thing occur for him when he dominated the Swedish league, the year before coming over. I mean, he was just a dominant player where he just went to another level. I think that that's exactly what we're seeing here with Pettersson, and it's to be expected with elite players. It's not always like a straight trajectory up for the vast majority of players. We see players kind of find their way and then kind of have to make a little bit of an adjustment. I think Pettersson is doing it, but I think this is fully what you can expect from him going forward.
Craig, news from back east. What goes through your mind when you hear the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League is on the verge of banning fighting, and what that might mean for the rest of the CHL and the NHL maybe?
Yeah, what we've seen, and we've seen it. We've seen a precipitous fall in fighting in hockey. And Gary Bettman has talked about, do we have to introduce legislation and rules when there's been a natural decline in it. So I think one of the things is that it's born out of a wish to create a safer environment for the younger players and players coming in, not feeling they have to fight. Whether it's overboard or not, I guess time will tell. David Branch in the Ontario Hockey League, I know he was asked what he would do, but David Branch has been a leader in terms of, how hitting is handled in hockey and how fighting is handled in the Ontario Hockey League. He's been a big part of being a leader in the decline of fighting and and safer play coming in to the Ontario Hockey League. Is fighting going to be banned? You can't ban fighting, But what you can do is say, listen, if there's going to be what I call spontaneous combustion, which people say, then that's fine. You have it and you move on. The players might get a game misconduct, but you're going to still be able to have that spontaneous combustion. I think what comes, and I think in light of what's happened here with the clean hitting, have to respond to a clean hit, is another factor. So anyway, I don't think that fighting's gone from the game, but certainly fighting as a central role in the game is been on the massive decline for a long time. And I think whether it be 5 years from now or 10 years from now, we're not going to see fighting. There's no fighting in international hockey. There's no fighting in college hockey, and so it seems to me to just be a natural progression, and we'll see the end come. We'll see the end of it come, whether it be through the Quebec League saying you're going to get any misconduct, or just an act, because the kids today aren't playing with fighting when they're younger and seeing it as something to do.
Yeah, and Craig, very quickly, but the old way of thinking, do you believe that if fighting was to be banned or lessened, do you think stick work would go up, and isn't that more dangerous?
Well, I mean, the argument is always made about stick work, right? I mean, ever since '05, when the application of the rules, the enforcement of the rules became a lot more to the rule book. We've seen that the rule book can serve as a great deterrent, right? So what we have to be able to do, Donnie, is we have to be able to say to the officials, call it. The problem that occurred was they weren't calling it. And so there was slashes on the hands, and there was, you think about slashes on the hands. I mean, it was ongoing. Do you know how many players I've heard from over the years? Well, how are we supposed to check if we can't check the hands? It's against the rules. You're not good enough. You shouldn't be able to check on the hands. Once the leagues start enforcing the rules, you don't have to worry about stick work coming into the game. Just call the rules.
Yeah. Well said. Craig, next Tuesday, unless there's some sort of schedule change, but next Tuesday, as always, Craig. Appreciate it.
I love you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. Right back at you.